welcome back to the Creator Podcast. I have one of my favorite people I like to watch post. Um, Creatively, I feel like uh, he makes me miss New York a bit. Being in the South now, I spent about 6 years in New York, um, living there, wandering, getting lost. And I just feel like when it comes to art and freshness, this person that I have on today really exudes that. And I just want to pick his brain. And he goes by the name Iicky. And I love the fact that his style is very vibrant. Um, and when I say style, I'm talking style of art, style of clothing, just a good, fresh
Could have
aura.
taken that down.
Love it. Love the background. And I just wanted to have him on the Creator Podcast to pick his brain. Um, he has a Trinidadian background, which I connected with a bit because some of my family has that in their background. Both of
Oh,
my
for
parents,
real?
yeah, both of my parents are Jamaican, but I have some nephews with a Trinidadian parent, and so it's all really a mixture. And when I was researching, I found out that your dad was a carpenter, so was my grandfather. And what's so funny about that is when you were explaining how your father was just like really big on do what you can with what you have, my
Yeah.
grandfather was also. My grandfather was never not doing something for somebody, doing something downstairs, smelling like sawdust.
Uh-huh.
That was like one of my favorite things about him is a scent on him. And he made everything in the house, the table, the chairs,
Yeah.
did great woodwork. But when he spoke, it was few words, but they meant a lot. And
Yeah.
so when your dad was giving you
Same.
those words, I was like, yeah, if he speaks, you need to listen, but he's not going to talk too much. So I was like, okay, I connect with this. And so your work ethic is really good to me. And I can tell you're passionate about it. It's just not something you're doing because you think, oh, it's going to do this for me. Like it's something within you. So that's what really connected me to you. And the fact that when you do make a post or you share something, it makes people think. It makes me think. It makes me want to
Oh.
do something fresh, do something different. And I think in a world like today where everything's so duplicated and so let me copy this person, let me do this person's style, it's what people need. Creative people. And so I just wanted to pick your brain on the show, and the fact that you don't really do shows makes this even more special for me. So thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Wait, I have a fun fact. Fun, something that everyone has a misconception. I don't live in New York.
What? Where are you in
I,
Chicago?
so, yeah, I'm in Chicago. But see,
Okay.
my family lives in New York. My mom lived there for a long time. My summers and breaks was
Yeah.
always in New York. Um, So I do have a background of being in New York at an early age and
Mm.
an older age, and I go to New York a lot.
Okay.
I used to go to New York a lot. I haven't been in a minute, but
Okay.
if I do go, it'll be like a quick, you know.
Okay. But you're a city person.
Yes,
See, I
yes,
never been to Chicago, so I wouldn't be able to see the difference. I know of
yeah.
Chicago from
There's
pictures,
not
but not physically being there.
yeah. There's not. I mean, there is a big difference, but there's not really. If you don't really know like a city life,
Yeah.
you want like real like recognize. I mean, it's very recognizable. I shouldn't say,
Hmm.
but it's both the same. A lot of people always say that, and I'm like, no, I live in Chicago. And when I say that, they're like, wait, what?
Oh man, that's so funny. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, that's my little pow on you.
So my first question for you is, how did you get your name? Is there a story behind your name, or is it just a name you grew up with?
It is a name I grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't really. I changed it when I came to the States.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to the States like several different times. I even went to school, high school in Atlanta for a very quick
What?
spell.
Which high
Yeah.
school?
It's closed down now, but it's a school. I think it was called Claxton in DeKalb County, kind of close to
Okay.
our own mountain area.
Yeah.
But it was very short lived. I was in between. I was gonna go to New York, and then I
Mm-hmm.
ended up being in Atlanta for high school. But then I ended up going back to the Caribbean. I was born in Trinidad, but raised in the Virgin Islands.
Okay. I've
So I
never
went back to
been.
school. Yeah, Virgin Islands is nice. You
Okay.
have to. But yeah, so the name comes from my father. I was a very quiet kid, and I would do like little things that were just like a pop of laughter. So
Mm-hmm.
the nickname or the change name is Ikame, a
Mm.
comic or payaso, because he's Cuban Dominican uh,
Okay.
background, but he grew up in Tortola, the British Virgin Islands.
Okay. So it's a
So
mixture.
yeah, so he would call me a comic, and as I was growing up, I used to do a lot of tagging and graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
So my nickname or my tag name was Milk the Comic or Milk a Comic. Yeah,
Okay.
and as I grew up, I used to make comic books as
Okay.
a young kid,
All
and
all creative kids did, yes.
I know, it's so weird and nerdy. But so the name of my comic book was because I asked my father what I should do because we used to make like little small comic books, like fold
Mm-hmm.
paper in four and you cut it. And it's very intricate.
Yeah.
And I would always write my name, but he was like, "No, you have to have a creative art name." I was like, "What name can I put?" He
Yeah.
was like, "It's a comic, and you're a comic." So he would say, "Put a comic," and I would put my name
Mm.
as capital A dot KOMIC, and that's like literally my initial.
Nice.
I'm not gonna reveal my real name on here,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
yeah, but their full name is Icamic. And when I moved to the States, I changed it to the double I because I was a twin and I'm a Gemini. So
Okay.
within that part of it,
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah.
I knew.
But
I said I
people
know there's a
shorten
story.
it and call me Ick or Icky.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where Icky comes from.
All right.
I just revealed too much.
Okay, I like it. I was like, I know there's a story behind this name. I have to know. All right. I have lots of nicknames too for my family.
Oh
You know what
yes.
I'm saying? So I'm used to it. All right. So my second question for you is, at what age did you realize I'm better at this than most people?
I don't think I've ever thought I was better than anyone. I
Yeah.
just, I think again, it comes from my parents' teaching.
Mhm.
Um, you shouldn't try to be better than anyone. You should try to be better than yourself.
Mhm.
So for me, uh, I think because I have like siblings and we're very crazy.
Mhm.
At a young age, I'd say uh, when we would have to entertain each other,
Yeah.
that's when I kind of, I guess, had an idea of being a little bit different to everyone
Mhm.
else because I was
Mhm.
always myself. But I was the person. I grew up in the island, so
Yeah.
and I grew up in a time where it was very. You didn't have a lot,
Right.
so everything was imported. If it didn't come in, it didn't come in. Some people had, some people didn't. It didn't matter your social status. Didn't matter. if your wealth, or if you're affluent or whatever. It's everyone basically had the same lifestyle. Now it's changed because the
Hmm.
islands are different.
Right.
But if my dad played baseball, semi-professional baseball in the Caribbean for
Hmm.
different teams, but we all played like sports. I'm not a sports person at all.
Me either.
I ran track for college. That was
Yeah.
about it, but I really sucked. I was
Mm.
terrible. I wasn't terrible. I was just not really. It wasn't my
Wasn't
cup of
into it.
tea. Yeah, but I did it because
Yeah.
get that minimal whatever. Um, but the creative part I saw whenever we had to recreate things. So you're playing baseball and you lose the ball,
Hmm.
the game is usually over.
Hmm.
But my my family and my brothers and whatever, they would be like, "Yo, can you make us a ball?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can make a ball." So I would take uh, whatever we had around and make a ball out of rubber bands, tape, whatever, and then we would play with it. And we use like a mop stick, like classic, like stick ball.
Hmm.
Like whatever you see in New York is what basically the Caribbean was, the Virgin Islands was, the
Yeah.
U.S. Virgin Islands. So that's how we play baseball. But we use cardboard gloves. You just cut the cardboard in half with your finger, and
Right.
you just like you
Catch
can
it like
catch the
this,
ball.
like a
Yeah,
fold.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I would have to make those things if somebody, sometimes we leave our gloves outside, they'll get wet in the rain, you can't use them. So
Right.
we'd use cardboard. And cardboard was a lot easier too. It
Hmm.
sounds so funny. But that's when I realized that there was a need for me as a person, like someone depended on me. So
Hmm.
that's the real. I think it was like look at my father because he build, and people regarded him. They have a need from him. It
Right.
was just like for his talent. So I wanted to be like him very badly. So
Hmm.
when I had that realization, that's I think when that came out. Maybe,
Nice.
but that's a creative side. When it comes to art,
Yeah.
um, I was accepted into a school for the gifted at a young age,
Hmm.
in the Caribbean, and it was a program to help uh, kids in high school to prepare for their portfolio to go to specific college that they geared towards.
Hmm.
So I got accepted into that program very young,
Mm.
and I think maybe that's when I realized artistically I probably could do
Are any
something.
of your other siblings artistic?
All of them,
Wow.
yeah, we all are. My mom and dad were painters and artists, whatever. My dad used to draw and paint, but it was really like his secret passion.
Hmm.
Um, my mom, she still creates.
Yeah.
She's the type that would make. Well, she made dresses, furniture. She's a dressmaker.
That's my
Uh,
mom. My
but
mom.
anything, yeah, Caribbean people, they do it for
Yes.
themselves. So
Uh,
again, it has a lot to do with like the Caribbean just being there and not being able to get so much, so you just
right.
create.
Being self-efficient.
Yeah. So
Um,
my mom makes like rugs out of plastic bags, and she was even selling them on like Etsy or something like that. I know.
yeah. I think
So that's like
Caribbean people, we figure out how to do something with what's around us.
hmm
Um, I always joke with my mom when she comes to visit that she can't sit down and keep still. Even if there's plastic bags from the grocery store, she's folding them into triangles and
yeah.
putting them in the drawer. But she also did upholstery. She made hats for the church ladies. She did church wedding dresses for people. She did a few wedding dresses for my friends. She made all my clothes. And as far as like siblings, all of my brothers are artistic, but I'm the only one that went to school for it. They're like in trades, like they're mechanics.
Yeah.
They have their own business, but I'm the one that wanted to like figure out how to make the creative part a career. But what's so funny about that is trades now, it's more in demand than creatively you going after what you want, unless you can really throw yourself in it. But I don't know the last time they drew anything or painted anything, but my mom still paints and draws and all of
Yeah.
that stuff, you know? So yeah.
Same with my family.
Yeah, that's good.
I
It's
think
so
I'm the only one who went to school, but I didn't. Well, that's another story.
it's so funny how everybody has something creatively that they do, but it's all like a small little bit of people that actually do it.
Yeah.
Um that's funny. So my third question is, did you ever want to have a boring everyday job, or did you just know you had to make whatever you did something creative?
So I studied marine biology,
Mm.
and I did want to be a published scientist, I guess, or
Mhm.
biologist, but nah,
You didn't love
a
it
lot of
enough.
work. I mean, I no, I loved it a lot. It's just that I don't want to get like roasted for this, but like, if you're not a published scientist or anything, all you're gonna do is end up working for an aquarium or a marine
Mm.
biology. So
Okay.
unless you study a specific field, do your doctorate, etc.,
Mhm.
um, you could take that out. I don't even want to go there. But for me, no, I don't mind. I'm very easygoing. I don't mind working. I
Yeah,
actually work. I actually work like part time at a boutique.
I can
So
see that.
and I do a little styling, and that's where I started doing the modeling. Um, and early in life.
Mm. Okay, I can see that. All right. So, what made you fall in love with the watercolor technique that you do?
Yo, so I learned watercolor in college. I had one other experience of it when I was in art school,
Mhm.
um, but it wasn't. The technique wasn't there because um, I love graphite. I like um, acrylic. I liked acrylic, but I was more a person to just use like graphite, pencil, or pen. It
Mhm.
was a little easier because I love using a line. Because a line defines so much, and it can create so much. Watercolor
Mhm.
is very unforgiving.
Yeah.
So you know, and it's reversed. So the paper is the lighter part, um, is where the light is casted. So my first attempt wasn't really the best,
Mhm.
and my my professor at the time, he was a watercolorist, and he really wanted us to learn this, but he reintroduced the term of like there's because in my family the word mistake really doesn't exist. So
Mm.
my father was very keen on that. So like if you said, "Oh, I made a mistake," he'll tell you to think what you're talking about,
Mhm.
like rethink that. So for me, watercolor was not an actual thing I enjoyed until my teacher told me to use my style because I use more of like a style that has a lot of building up on it.
Mhm.
So and I use a lot of color. With watercolor, everything's translucent and it's like kind of slightly dull, but
Mhm.
not dull to say it's bad. But it's because you want to see the classic water style from
Right.
it, the translucent style. So
Mhm.
for me, I did not do well. So he just told me to do whatever I can create from it and
Mhm.
use the mistake. And then he rephrased it and said, but the mistake does not exist. And then he talked about the philosophy of wabi sabi and some other Japanese um, philosophies towards it, and that was what was intriguing to me because I love to research, I love to study, I love to understand, I
Mhm.
love to figure out new things. So when I tried the second time, it was still bad, but I used the mistake. I gathered what was in the area to make
Right.
it beautiful or beautify the area. So second time, my grade was an 80, and I
Mhm.
didn't like that because I came from a background of going to an art school before I went to college or university, and I asked for a retry,
Mhm.
and I told him if I don't get perfect score, I'll drop the class.
Mm.
And he was like, "No, don't do that." But his name was Mr. Stiver. Amazing, amazing professor. I mean, top notch. So I brought back the piece, and instead of bringing one, I brought three. I bring three pieces back,
Mhm.
and I use uh, three different styles
Mhm.
from my research. I went to college when we didn't have a phone to like look up stuff, so yeah, to go to the
Right.
library. Spend a
Right.
lot of time in
Same.
the library.
Same.
Library is my favorite place. So
Yeah.
um, I brought three pieces. One was of a cityscape because back and forth from New York, and then one was the beach, and then one was like wooded wooded area.
Mhm.
Um, I could have done it from life, but I did it from Central Park. So I painted like wooded area and buildings in the background, and I encompassed everything. So uh, I turned them in three pieces, and he looked at them, and he was like, "I think you found your medium."
Mm.
And he told me, he's like, because I was already on the fast track program because I
Yeah.
did go to art school early, and
Right.
he said, "I advise you not to take the fast track program and to actually study these things so you do well at it." And I did stay and not do the fast track program because I could end up being like a junior, a first semester junior, or second semester a sophomore, but I ended
Mhm.
up going all the way through, and it was actually worth it. So, but
That's
yeah,
good.
that was my technique was to build on top of the colors
Yeah.
and to leave the subtle parts underneath in stark white or a lighter shade. So what you see is like a building, and I don't use traditional watercolor all the time. I
Mhm.
create my own pigments, and
Mm.
back then, um, art supplies were very difficult to like get sometimes. So
Mhm.
I would use old watercolor, crush it down, add water, make it. I even mix like fruits, flowers, like reds was like hibiscus, a lot of natural botanical dyes to dye the paper, but
Mhm.
in a minimal sense. Now I actually do it like a lot, but that's how I discovered my style, and that's how I knew that style was for me.
That's good. So even now, you still prefer making your own pigment instead of buying?
I do buy, but
Mhm.
I buy used. All my um everything is used pieces, used products. So I'll buy like or I collect. Like for instance, these are people's sharded pencils,
Mhm.
color pencils,
Yeah.
and I can either use the pigment or I can use the graphite, crush it down, and make it into a powder, or I can just use the old pieces and then I put it on top. So it's a build of so much. I even use like tea dyeing, tea staining.
Mhm.
I've tried to use matcha, but matcha is a little different.
Of course.
It doesn't come out as you think it would, but I
Yeah.
still use it. Yeah.
Okay, that's creative. I like that. I um I try watercolor, but because I like things bold and like where I put it, I want it to be. I feel like watercolor, you have to have patience to grow with it to be comfortable with where the color is moving.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was too controlling in art class to trust that the color is gonna go where I want it to go.
No, yeah,
Because
fact.
for the idea I have in my head, and you can't do that. You have to be willing to play with it on where it's going in the picture.
So the only significant thing to watercolor is the sketch.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you can count on to
Mhm.
actually be not not perfect, because nothing is perfect. But that's
Mhm.
the one thing that you can use is your sketch. So
Right.
for me, I use the sketch even as the way how watercolor should flow. So I know there's a lot of valleys, a lot of slips, a lot of spills,
Mhm.
and because I did grow up doing a little bit of aerosol art, as we will call it,
Yeah.
there's certain aspects to that as well that
Mhm.
I use in my watercolor. So the drips, the mist lines, the overline.
Mhm.
Um, I use all of that into it, and I go about it more of like if it was a project on the street, so you have to finish it in that certain
Mhm.
time. So plain air, open air painters, they have a specific time to get a certain light, uh,
Mhm.
certain you know action, like a person walking by.
Mhm.
So that in itself is a difficulty, but I use all of that on the watercolor, and I even recreate it from things that I may have seen. So I'm constantly taking photos, videos, um, and even to night life,
Mhm.
you reverse it. Negative light becomes a positive light.
Mhm.
And for me, that's how I look at nighttime. I see the shapes and then I reverse it and then I can use the shapes as what I want to use for my light source.
Hmm. Are you
But it,
big? Are you big on photography?
no, I have no clue of photography at all. I am trying to learn. I bought a camera when I was little. When I was younger, I did like taking pictures, but it was not really for like the execution. It was just
Yeah.
things that I saw. So I'm kind of a creep. I look at a tree and I smile at it and I take a picture and
Yeah.
then I tell the tree thank you because it allowed me to take the photo. But
Yeah.
I use all of those things to actually um, incorporate in any creative process, even in making clothes, mending.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, it's it's steps. A lot of people don't have that understanding that your creative process is not what you actually see at the end.
Right.
For me, the thrill is to create the progression from one point to the other. And
Mhm.
sometimes stop in the middle just to like look at it. And sometimes that could be a completed piece. You
Mhm.
can look at the unfinished and be like, all right, it's done.
Yeah.
But it's the point of starting to from one direction and getting into another. That's why I like watercolor because
Mm.
it's unforgiving. If you make a spill, that is there on that piece of paper,
Right.
and you cannot discard anything. You keep everything. So
Mhm.
if you discard it, then you've literally lost uh, a, a a piece that you don't even know where that piece is going.
Right.
So if you
Because you're so
discard it,
focused on that not being
yeah.
there.
So and if you finish it, you'll be like, oh my god, because
Yeah.
there's so many pieces that I keep everything, but there's so many pieces that I went back 2 years later
Mhm.
and I just put it in and do the work, and then it turns out it was a great piece in my eyes. And then when you
Mhm.
put it in a show and it sells, then you're like, I guess they saw it as well. But if
Yeah.
you've seen the first part of it, you're like, ah, that was good, but yeah, I see why you finish it. So it's about being true to that process, and a lot of
Mhm.
us do forget that things take time. So the patience is there. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's a bad thing. It's just that patience with specific things can give you an internal meaning to it. So when you complete something, it's actually more for yourself if you figure that the patience took too long.
Right. It's a challenge. It's a
I
challenge.
know. but it's good though.
Yeah, my mom is better at watercolor than me, and color pencils. She's great with color pencils.
Yeah, it's one
Um,
of my favorites too.
yeah. Okay. So one of my favorite questions is, how did you bridge the gap of creativity from what you loved as a kid into adulthood?
I'm still a kid.
Yeah. I feel like you have. I feel like you have to be in order to keep it fresh.
I mean, my last big art show, one of
Yeah.
my friends, his son, because I would go to the studio with him, and his son, he has two sons, and his son just like scribbled on the wall.
Mhm.
I was like, yo, I was like, my youth, you forget how like creative you were when you were a child, but you don't look like nothing. To the kid,
Mhm.
looks like the world. He just did like one of the best paintings in the world. He can get $10 million on the spot. You know
Right.
what I mean? That mentality. And I
Mhm.
looked at his piece and I was like, I'm going back to that. I did a whole series of scribbles and crossed out lines and
Mhm.
scratching, and it was the most invigorating thing. And we forget that that's what we do. We do it as a child. We
Yeah.
become an adult, want to be a perfectionist, but it's art. And the only other artist that I regard to like a person who purposely did imperfection, well, maybe two, purposely did things with imperfection. There's several, but
Mhm.
off the head right now, um, I'll go with Jackson Pollock first because everyone will be like, of course you said Basquiat. But
Mhm.
Jackson Pollock, the whole mistake and the noodle and all the other disrespectful names that they talked
Mhm.
about his work. But his work was very strong. It's
Mhm.
short lived, but it was very strong.
Mhm.
Then you have somebody like, of course, Basquiat because he's, brown, and he did something from what he understood as being in a city, but did it even more rigid to what at the time graffiti was like blasting the train. You get to see the colors from afar. But he used it in simplicity just by writing poems and just putting up whatever he pleased.
Yeah.
Didn't have anything to do with it. But then at the same time, he was doing his art as a childlike form.
Yeah.
To see that, and then to see other painters doing it now, and even other artists doing it before him, it
Mhm.
was like intriguing. Like Jean Miro, he would be the first person I wanted to say.
Mhm.
My mental just tripped. But Jean Miro, to me, was my favorite painter. And
Mhm.
then after that was Manet.
Mm.
And, of course, the Virgin Islands, Impressionists. But those guys did specific things in plain air, and they had to do it quickly. So when you see scribble line like a child, I have to say I am still a kid when I paint. Every day I wake up.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like, in order to do it, you have to release this
yeah,
idea of rules, because I think
yes,
that's the defining separation from a childlike mind and adult. Is an adult, the world got to you, so you
yeah,
feel resistance to do what you really wanted to do. A child is like, it's the freshest thing that they're throwing on that paper or that wall or whatever, because they don't understand the world's rules yet,
yes,
which is why it's always better for me to get a child's opinion, because they're not going to lie to you. It's going to be the most
exactly.
honest.
And that's how you have to look at it work sometimes. Because you've ever seen your child draw you from their mind and with
Hmm.
their limited movements. I
Hmm.
said limited, but it's not limited. It's very, they have a lot. But
Right.
when they draw what they see and how they know to draw it. Their motor skills might be a little less than ours because we were trained to have motor skills. But
Hmm.
if you take your motor skills away from your mental yourself and then do it, you will gather the same thing. But if a child draws you, it will look exactly like you to them. And then when you look at you, it's like, it does look like me. They
Yes.
capture every essence of you, but it's in their way. And
Right.
I feel like that's how we should do it. And I feel like that's how art should be approached. But, we're taught in university to do specific things, but then still do it in our own way. But it's only because at university we were tested for our work. We were graded for our work, I should say, and tested.
Hmm.
And so we created our style into making it be accepted. And we do that all through the art world. We go to art shows. A person wants this specific piece. Well,
Hmm.
why not just tell them it's like, no, I'm just gonna do whatever I want to, and then if you want you want the show, you just take whatever I do.
Yeah.
Period. Done. But we don't have that option. We have, as a painter, sometimes you get a client. I don't even want to say this, but you get clients
Yeah.
that want your style and they want something specific.
Hmm.
They forget that it's you are the painter and they're purchasing something that they saw you do. But
Right.
then they want something for them. So they become more of the artist and the painter wanting someone else to do it through them, through you for them.
Hmm.
And you'll get that client that just does not like your work because they have a different vision, but they forgot they hired you because
Hmm.
of your style, your skill. But they
Yeah.
don't want that. They want something that they saw.
Yeah.
And that can be difficult and that can be very jarring at times because then
Hmm.
you can lose clients because I know a lot of artists who finish the work, but I know some people who just like, sorry,
To
not
me,
for us.
to me, that has always been a turn off. Like sometimes I would love to keep my capabilities of art a secret to some people because
Yeah,
when people get a hold of what you're capable of, oh, can you do this picture for me? Can you no, because my attraction to what I want to create or an idea I have is the fact that it's an idea and nobody knows I'm going to conquer it and nobody has an input. But once you come to me and you have an input on what you're visually thinking in your mind of what you want me to do, I'm already turned off because I'm not connected to it. You're
yeah,
forcing me
and
to have a connection that I don't have.
yeah, and it's not everybody is bad because you do have some people who have a specific need. But if that's the case, as an artist, we can refer someone else to you.
Yes.
We can literally say, well, this I may not be able to do, but I know a few other people that can do this, exactly what you need.
Hmm.
And some of us have pride. We don't want to do that. We don't want to give another person your work because that's somebody in your pocket.
Right.
But sometimes you just have to there's a community. We're a community. So just give it up. Right?
Hmm.
I've learned to do that now, and I have restrictions on like what people ask for.
Hmm.
I usually just tell people to pick something they see, and I'll redo it or I'll do it in a different style. But other than that, I try my best to
Hmm.
stay away from commissions. I
Yeah.
will do them, but I limit myself on how many I do a year
Mm.
because it can be very taxing and it can drain your creativity.
Yeah, it's like stifling. Like
It is.
I have to do this thing because I'm told I need to do it. And you find yourself or I find myself procrastinating on this thing because it's not a natural want for me to do it. It's a contingency for me to complete this thing.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and that could be dangerous for you as a creative. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I might get dragged for a lot of what I'm saying, but
No, but I feel a
this
lot
is
of creative people feel like that, but because you get into this pigeonhole of I have to make a living,
yeah,
have
I
to
know,
do
and
something, do it.
yeah, and I don't want people who would love a commission for me to hear this and be like, "Oh well, I'll never hire that person." No, hire me, but hire me in the intentions that I will do what I love,
Right.
and if I pour my heart into it, you will get that. And
And to me, it'll just make it a bit more special that when I spoke to this artist, I gave them the free space to create something from their mind
Yeah,
personally for me. It's
yeah,
not something that next year I'm going to see duplicated with the next person. And I
that,
feel like when people release this level of control they're trying to have on art and let people create freely is way more like valuable than a demand of how I want this thing to look.
yeah. This is why I respect people like Banksy. He just pops up, do something, and bounce.
Yes, you don't need to know who I am. You don't need to
Nope.
know what I got going on.
Exactly.
I'll be back when I'm back.
Literally how I want to live. Just wearing you can just blur my face out.
That's why I like MF Doom. You get my work, but you
Yeah,
don't get to have my life or
exactly.
me as a creative, you know?
Yeah, I don't. A lot of people feel like they they subject you to being there 100% or having access to like complete access to you
Yeah.
personally or whatever. But like um, I used to always scratch my eyes out in
Mhm.
a lot of my art or even like my photographs,
Mhm.
or I would hide my face or don't show my full face.
Mhm.
Just because I don't feel some people need complete access to seeing who
Yeah.
I am. Be more obsessed with the work.
Yeah.
Not the word obsessed is a little far. Be more attracted to the work or the creative process.
Mhm.
Um, because when you get into wanting to know who the artist is, you may not like their lifestyle. You may not like my lifestyle. You may not like the
Mhm.
fact that I love to be alone. I love to just not talk to people. That might turn you off. But
Mhm.
it's not about me really. It's about me creating the work for you to see my work.
Yeah.
Again, I will get dragged for that, but
I don't think you'll
especially in
get
social
dragged.
media now. No,
Yeah.
probably I make some people type about that. But still, because there are some artists who are like, no, you got to show your face, you got to do this, you got to
Yeah.
represent yourself. I was like, I don't know how to do that. I know that I can put my work out there and it can do whatever it needs to do.
Yeah.
So, and if you
I
don't like it, you don't like it.
right. It's your opinion, but you can't be bothered or allow yourself to be um moved by somebody else's thoughts all the time. It's funny you said that. Sometimes I'll FaceTime people and only put like half of my face in the camera. They're just like, why are you not all the way in there? Because I don't want to be. I don't feel like being that vulnerable with you right
No,
now. I
no.
just want to give you this and get
I,
off
I
the call.
I wear hats because it hides half of my face. That's
Yeah.
everyone's like, you're always wearing a hat. You should show your hair. Like, nah,
Yeah.
you don't need- nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for real, I see you. I feel you
I
on that
get
one.
that. I get that. Okay. What is a common misconception that people assume about your art approach?
Oh, I have no idea. Stuff like that doesn't really. I don't think about it.
Yeah,
I could care less.
good answer. Good
I
answer.
don't get. I don't want to curse, but yeah, I don't. I
Hmm.
could care less. There's a misconception. What is that word?
Yeah.
I honestly, I think I have probably just put that word out of my head because
Mm.
work should. There's no misconceptions to any creative art, music, anything. There's no misconceptions to it.
Right.
That person's creating it. You just accept it the way it is,
Right. Or
or
you
you walk
don't.
away.
Yeah.
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 So
True. Okay.
sorry, I don't. That's a good
Do
question because
not apologize.
I've
I'll take
never
that
thought of that
answer.
word. That
Okay.
word, I don't even think I actually think about that at all.
Okay. That's good. Free mind. All right. Finish this sentence. I knew I had to make art work into my life when blank.
I knew I had to make art work in my life when what? Blank?
Blank, blank, like fill in the blank.
That is so wild. I don't know. What do you mean by that? There? That is sounds
Like,
crazy.
I feel like
I
you've been
thought I
doing
knew I
art.
had to.
You've been doing art for so long. I don't think you would think you couldn't fit it in.
Yeah, because I don't know. Yo, that's a good one, yo. Wait, let me really think about that. I ain't never think about that one before.
Yeah,
Again, I guess it was just always there. I just
you're
never.
right. It's like, how could you not do it?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything. Everything we do is art, though.
Mhm.
From the time we born, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, the way we eat, the way we drink, the way we talk. I
Mhm.
guess that's just art. I don't know. I can't answer that one. Day. You get me? That one is lost on me for true though. That's two good questions.
That's
Should
good.
I give me that question before the interview, Jed?
That's good. I got you on the spot. All
Yeah, that
right.
one's good.
This is a style question. Your people in your art have style. They have like a aura about them when I see it. I feel like you ooze a style about yourself that's many things. Like when I see how you express yourself or the way that you dress, I know there's a story to why you might have something on a certain way. Where does your fashion sense or your style of why you wear things a certain way come
Everything should tell a story. You said it earlier.
from? Hmm.
So everything has a story. Um, have you ever looked at Lisa Bonet when she was on the Cosby Show?
Yes.
When she walked in the room, you already know what the story was going to be about
Hmm.
because of her clothing. If you're mentally ahead of the story,
Hmm.
um, person on the red carpet, you expect them to have a specific style. The story is already told.
Hmm.
They're there for a specific reason. They have a specific garment on, and that garment represents what they're promoting.
Right.
Again, it's going to tell a story. For me personally, my art represents people that I know, people I grew up around,
Hmm.
family members especially. So I paint a lot of my family, and style to me is not um, is not planned.
Mm.
It's not specifically put together. Uniformity is. So a
Hmm.
uniform is put together. I live my life by wearing a uniform. I don't own a lot. I don't wear a lot, but I seem to look like I do
Hmm.
because of how I presented over and over. Because each time I put it on, it'll tell a different story.
Hmm.
Even if I wore the same exact thing tomorrow, it will tell a different story tomorrow.
Hmm.
And to me, personally, style in my art is allowing you to enter to the character's world or this environment that I'm putting on the paper or whatever I'm using,
Hmm.
um, for you to see something fresh, something new. But it's not. It's actually classical. It could be. I could just be looking at Renoir and realize that I want to draw the ballerina,
Hmm.
the famous ballerina he did, but change her outfit into denim or something. I don't. I
Hmm.
don't. I think it just has to.
Yeah.
It has to tell a story for you to actually be interested. In, and I guess that's like growing up reading comic books
Hmm.
and Vogue. And my aunt used to always have Vogue magazines. My aunt dressed very well. My mom was a very secret like dresser. I don't even know how to say the word, but she wore very. They all wore nice clothing,
Hmm.
but they didn't wear it like how you would expect it to be worn. Like growing up, I didn't even know my mom used to wear iicky all the time,
Mm.
or iicky, and I would go into her closet and I was like, "Oh, what is this? It's trying to like look cool."
Yeah.
Of course, take it, wear it, big baggy trousers, same thing. So for me, the style is just, you know, it gives you something to think about. and when the person leaves the room, you'll remember it. So
Mhm.
it told the right story, coming in and going out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Something,
explains it well, but
it's kind of like, to me, it's a different palette of how this person is expressing themselves. And if this person could not speak, this is speaking for them.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Um,
like the other day, I had on a white Western shirt.
mhm,
I turned it around and dyed it in turmeric the next day and wore it the day after. Same exact shirt,
mhm,
and I think that shirt has been dyed at least 20 different times, but looked completely different the whole
mhm,
time. So I think I could draw the same the series that I'm working on. Well,
mhm.
I have a series of pieces that I do. It's called Post Bills.
Yeah.
And in the city, they have the posters all up everywhere, and the same exact poster that's multiple times. And it
Right.
says,
Repeated.
then you go to a blind one and it says "Post no bills."
Mhm,
But I try to do the work like that poster, but change it every so often. Same character, same face,
mhm,
might be a different hair, might be a different glasses, no glasses,
mhm,
but it's the same silhouette. And every time you see it, it looks like a completely different piece, but it has the
mhm.
same thing. And some people might say that, oh, that's your specific style. No, that's just for that because it's a poster like style.
Mhm.
So each piece has its own style, its own journey, its own story.
I get that. To me, the older you get, the wiser you get. Um, you find that people who get to their 40s, their 50s, things start getting refined for them. They start getting that shirt in navy, black, white. But it's
Yeah,
that same shirt, that cut.
yeah.
They have a certain cut of denim that they wear, a style of shoe
Oh,
that they wear. And when they mix it, it becomes their uniform. But to
yeah,
me, that when I see people like that, it makes me want to like learn about them more because I know they have an experience or they have wisdom to give me about how did they get to a point of being so refined. You spend your teens, your 20s trying to figure out your thing, your look, your style, your form of expression,
yeah.
and then your 30s you're just like, "No, I filtered out the BS. This is the thing that matters. This is me. This is how I want to wear it." And you start to refine it. And it's kind of like going from a child, if you allow a child to get themselves dressed, you don't know
Yeah,
what's going to come out that room,
exactly.
but
And
it'll
that's how
be confident. But I don't know. I look forward to that. I look forward to being the old lady with the hair all over the place and just like, I'm ready. Let's go. I'm ready. Because
definitely.
nobody can tell me nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think for me, because I still dress exactly the same. No, 100%. Sorry, I cut you off. It had
No,
paused.
you're good.
No, 100%. I still dress the same way that I did in since I first ventured into like finding my style,
Hmm.
finding something because it just seemed like it was too much. As a teenager, I think we all were known to wear school uniform,
Right.
and because we all wore school, they don't do that much in the states as they did in the Caribbean. But we
Hmm.
wore a school uniform for everything.
Yeah.
I went to a college where I wore basically a school uniform, but in university that I wear a school uniform, and yeah, and preparatory schools, it's all the same thing. I despise khakis, like the color, the tan
Yeah.
khakis, the or the green, whatever. I despise them. So if but I do buy them or I do own them, but they're never gonna be clean or pressed. They're always gonna have either paint all over it, they're gonna be ripped up,
Hmm.
patch something. I'll just do something. It's like a trauma there somewhere. But anyway,
PTSD.
I know. But anyway, because of the uniform that we wear, we tend to stick with that type of lifestyle.
Right.
Now, when I had my journey where I was like, oh, I'm gonna just go to like, this is like when I was in high school. I remember going to Paul Smith, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all the linen shirts, just like what you said, in all these different color.
Yeah.
And then it became boring after you wore them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know if I could do like the kids how they do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I don't understand. Like, first off, that's a lot to do, and the trends are changing every like 15 days.
It's a lot of waste. It's a lot of waste.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taught not to waste anything.
Mm-hmm.
If we have a shirt and it can't be handed down, you cut that joker up and you make something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I did try to do the whole find my style, but then I'm a painter. Everything I own has paint on it.
Yeah.
I have to have specific clothes that look clean, and that's what I wear all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to look the same all the time, but I'll change it. My thing is accessory, a hat, jewelry, sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing. But the clothes is always the same. Now that I say this, then when you look at things, you're like, oh yeah, it's the same. You've been wearing the same jeans. You've been wearing it. But I mean, I do collect things. I collect denim. That's my obsession.
That was one of my questions.
Oh, okay. I let it go for the next one. But there's certain things that I enjoy, but there's certain things that I just don't care. And because I don't care, and I have that childlike approach to certain creative things, I allow that to build. So, like you said, when that kid goes into the room, and you don't know what you expect, that's exactly how I would love to approach everything, even the way I dress. So it may come across cool because it must be my confidence because I don't care what anyone says. I literally could care less. If a person's laughing at me or laughing at what I have on, it's like, well, you'll see it later on down the line. So to me, that approach goes back to the whole style thing of everything having a story.
That's good. My brothers used to give me so much just hate. Like, I'm okay, so I'm the youngest of 5 brothers.
Oh wow. I'm the oldest.
I have a sister, but she's closer to my mom's age, so it's not really the same thing.
Yeah.
And they used to get so upset with what I wanted to wear to the store. Chantal, why do you have to wear that? Wear something else. You're not getting in the car if you're gonna wear that. They will put my shoes on top of the car and drive down the street. It's just so much unnecessariness.
What?
But I never my mom was like this. I said, "Mom, I want you to make this. I would draw it, design it. I want you to make this. Let's go pick out the fabric." We go to the fabric store. She pick out the fabric, the zipper. I tell her how I want it. It's done like in one night. My mom's very quick. I put it on. It was just like, why would you make this print in this texture and wear it to school? When I started working at 16, I purposely picked jobs where I didn't have to wear a uniform. The way I gauge my jobs is if I could be myself, follow your handbook, dress how I want to dress, wear the earrings I want to wear, I'll work here. If I can't do that, I'm not doing it. So for me, it was like Old Navy, Gap, Urban Outfitters, a little bit at Banana Republic. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. This is one of many podcasts that I do. So when you support this podcast, you are supporting options that I can do with the other shows. If you're not aware, I have Cozy Moon Podcast, I have Creator Podcast, Loudmouth Stereo was discontinued, but the episodes are still up there if you want to listen. She Gets It Pod was discontinued, but the episodes are still up there if you want to listen. So What Page We On Bid is a book club podcast. We have the Real Relationship Report that I do with Dungeon on Stereo app bi-weekly. And then there is the one and only Wear It Right with Shan, which is my podcast where I talk about fashion and style. So when you support one, you support all. If you would like to donate to any of these shows, you can. The link is in the show notes, and I do appreciate it. It does give me other opportunities to do other things. And also, please support the website. Visit often because there's a blog on there called Thick Grits and Pods, where I upload my thoughts and things that help podcasters and creators and just keeping us where we need to be in our minds and in life. ShambyPodden.com is the website. You can also find all of my books on that website and all of the shops to go ahead and purchase merch if you like wearing what you support. And I appreciate you. Now back to the show. Banana Republic. A lot of vintage stores, boutiques, there should be no preference on my hair. Don't tell me how to have my hair. So like in my head, like I was internally defiant.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to surprise you while I'm in the job. I'm going to tell you up front. And that's how I approach a lot of things. Like, you're not going to tell me how I can express myself, how I can present myself. I'm not going to be in here naked, but you just can't tell me that. So like even today, when people see me, they was like, Chantal, you still dress like you dress in elementary school. You still dress like you dress in middle school. You still dress like you dress in high school. A lot of times when I go out with my kids and I'm with my friends, people in the store automatically assume that those kids belong to my friends and not me. So I'm just like, I'm cool with that. Because I don't feel like how you're dressing should say your age. I feel like how you're dressing should tell your story.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at other cultures. It doesn't matter what the age of the person. They still, I don't know, like if you look at a lot of Asian cultures, like in Japan, the older generation, they still keep up a specific style. I mean, the hair will be pink. They'll have on. I mean, they have so many different styles, but they don't really have a big age difference. One does whatever they want to, and I am that way. I agree with you 100%. The only thing I am different about is that I love a uniform. So, I mean, you have to realize that we wear a uniform our life. People make your uniform look nice.
Yeah.
If you can make your uniform look different to everybody and you have on the same exact thing, then that's just traditionally just style over anything.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people don't look at it that way. Say again?
Maybe it's me. I grew up where there was no restrictions on my options.
Yeah, and that's
my brothers grew up in Jamaica where it's like you wear uniform. This, you have this. Yeah. So I feel like I'll get there, but I'm not there yet. I'm still exploring things. But it's good to just know how you want to present yourself and you have that freedom. Because to me, knowing exactly what I'm going to look like or have to present myself every day is suffocating. Which brings me to like why I move around furniture a lot or why I like to change furniture a lot.
Yeah.
Visually seeing something different, seeing it in a different way, it like in my mind makes me think different ideas.
I have a question then. Do you own a lot of things?
Yes, but for certain reasons. So like I'm the person that I still have things in my closet from middle school.
I mean, nothing wrong with that, but like I'm I'm not a minimalist, but
Mhm.
earlier I said I like to I may have more style with my sneakers, but the thing is I say that reluctantly because I'm not a sneakerhead. I'm not like the person going out there and getting like all these. No, I shouldn't say it like that. I'm not the person out there to find the newest trendy cool thing. I only do classics, and
Okay.
I will own the same. I will wear the same sneakers all the time.
Mhm.
It's just that is how you represent. It's how you present the story. So for me, I own a limited amount of things. I literally only own 12 hang that I hang 12 outfits on
Mhm.
for a season. And being in certain places in the States, some seasons have it separated by two or by three. Especially Chicago,
Yeah.
fall can be separated by two or even three because fall through winter. Um, Summertime, I wear the same things all the time: a pair of jeans
Mhm.
and a Bob Marley T-shirt. Now I may have like maybe 12 Bob Marley
Ah.
T-shirts that I go through, and but it's about like for me at least, it's the less I have, the better I can create.
And that's where I want to get to, cuz me is kind of like if I see a vibrant color in my mind, I'm just like that'll look great with gray pants that I have. That'll look good with those shoes that I have. And when I buy sneakers, I don't buy them because they're the newest sneakers and everybody wants them. I buy them based on how weird it wouldn't make sense with what in my mind I want to wear it with. And I'll be
No, I
comfortable
got
with that.
yeah. Mine are all classics, so
Mm,
everything I do own is going to be at least in the beginning stages of it. It's a classic piece, classic Western shirts. I wear a lot of Western shirts, but Western shirts can actually have a little extra to it. You
mhm,
just buy a classic one, you can change, you can dye it.
mhm.
Um, you know, hats and sneakers, same thing, classic. I wear. A lot of people like make fun of me. They had this conversation like, how would you look if you were to dress like iicky?
Mm.
And the first thing they said is jeans with a big cuff, a Bob Marley T-shirt, and a Mets hat.
It's
And if you
different.
think about that after I said that,
Yeah.
you've seen or visual. If you think about any visual, that's literally what I look like. And I was like, man, forget you guys. That's not true. And and then when they do show me and I look at the pictures, I was like, all right, that's true. That's somewhat icky.
Yeah.
Winter icky, denim shirt, maybe some back. I do a lot of black trousers.
Mhm.
I own a pair of trousers. I own five of them exactly. The
Mm.
same black trouser, and I just may change the hemline, a cuff or something, but I wear a black sweatshirt and different styles of it. In the summer, I wear a white sweatshirt.
Mhm.
So for me, it's a lot easier for styling because I don't want to think about. I don't like thinking about what I have to put on in the morning. Like literally, I just grab and go.
Okay, see, I don't like thinking about what I'm going to wear in the morning. Since second grade, I've been doing my what I'm going to wear tomorrow tonight. And
I mean,
now,
that's typical of Caribbean parents. Because
yes,
that's the way how they teach you. Sunday,
yes,
you'll have all your clothes ironed
y-
for the week,
yes.
and you hang it up. But that's literally why I own 12. It
Hmm.
was a rule of six growing up, but this coming to the states, it became a rule of 12 because there's different types of weather here.
Okay.
You have in the morning it could be like frigid. It
Hmm.
could be like no 50 degrees, and then by the afternoon you're getting ready to like go wherever you're going home or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
It'll be like 80 degrees.
So
So you have to
you have
like
to buy stuff that you can layer.
yeah. So that's why you have
Okay.
a specific thing. So for me, that's I don't know. When you said that, I was like, wow, that's interesting because I would think you would be more dedicated to the uniform, but I
No.
get it now because you had to do whatever you wanted to, and I
Yes.
like that. I've never had that to think like, oh, I will change up every single day.
Like
Uh,
I wish I had less options, but I don't because my mind hates restrictions. My mind hates,
so do I.
but I feel like your wardrobe is disciplined to where it doesn't overwhelm.
No, 100%.
It doesn't overwhelm you. Mine is like, okay, you have this closet, you have this closet, and you have this rack. What do you want to pick?
Yeah, all I need is a small wrap.
Yeah, but
Like
that's
literally, what I have on today is what I wore yesterday.
nice.
I
That's
may
so,
have I may have put on this blue shirt fresh.
yeah.
'Cause I was nervous coming on here. I was like, maybe I should look a
Don't
little
be
decent. Yo, the
nervous.
public, I don't know these people.
Don't
I
be
don't want them to
nervous.
say some rude things to them because they come out loud.
It's all right. All right. So my next question for you is, what did you mean when you said the narcissist lives in us on Mondays?
All right, that's the title of a painting, and that's an actual phrase I use all the time. Monday
Yeah.
is. What do you think about Monday?
Monday is demanding. Monday is whether you like it or not, it's coming, it's going,
Okay,
you know?
all right. So, what do you think a narcissist is?
Someone that's full of themselves
Huh?
and just demanding.
Exactly. Monday does the same thing to you, and because you don't want something to overwhelm you, because
Hmm.
everyone hates Mondays.
Yeah.
For what reason, I don't know. Mondays are the best days. But
Mm.
the narcissist does live in you on Mondays. Because that's the one day that you just don't want to do anything for anybody else. You just don't care. You're just vexed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a term that I came up with because everyone used to always say around me, I was like, I hate Mondays. Mondays are the worst. And I was like, well,
Hmm.
why? Why don't you do something you wanted to do? Just
Yeah.
take Monday off.
I do that sometimes. So secretly,
Okay,
that's
so
like
then
one of my favorite things to
what
do.
are you now? Because you have to take Mondays off.
Yeah.
You're a narcissist.
I secretly take Mondays off and I don't tell my kids. So I drop them off at school and then I come back and
Now you get it.
I might take my bike out for a bike ride and don't tell anybody, and I'll just send my location to my brother and be like, I'm outside on a bike ride just in case somebody try to take me. He'd be like, nobody wants to take you.
That's a sibling thing too. But yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's nothing big. It's nothing like
Hmm.
fantastical about the term.
Yeah.
Just the reality of what we live in.
Hmm. Okay, I got
And
that.
I just bring awareness to everybody because everyone has the same. Like, how many people? Sorry, I'm untangling my hair. I don't know what that was. My ring got caught.
Hmm.
Um, how many people do you know that hate Monday?
Most of my friends hate Mondays.
Exactly. 95% of the people that you're around may mention that they hate Monday. How many
No,
people?
the only time I like Mondays is when I have a new
Holiday.
outfit or a new pair of shoes for school and I'm going to wear it on Monday. That's the only time I was like, bring Monday. I'm ready for Monday.
That's hilarious.
You know
How
what I'm
many people do you
saying?
know that love Mondays? I just said I love Mondays,
I
so
don't
I'm one.
know anybody that's like, I love Mondays.
Exactly.
Unless maybe you work for yourself and there's nobody inputting in on your Monday. I can see how somebody could love it.
Even if you work for yourself, I know so many people that work for themselves and be like, I despise Mondays. Why can't I just do this all on Tuesday? Take the day off. You have the opportunity. Just take Mondays off.
Yeah.
Just take it off.
Some restaurants they're closed on Mondays and
Yeah,
I think that makes
restaurants,
sense.
boutiques, barbers.
Hmm.
You have so many people that extend their week because Saturday is a long time.
Yeah.
Saturdays is usually their busiest day, and if you have Sunday, off. That's like, it's you're consuming so much on Sunday too. Oh, let's do
Mhm.
brunch, or let's go to church, let's do
Yeah.
this, let's go to a movie. All these different things on that one day off. Like,
Yeah.
rest your backside. Take like Sunday rest. Just chill out.
Right.
Then Monday come
True.
around and like, dang, I did so much for the week, and I work, and then I go on to do all this on Sunday, and I'm tired. I just want the day off.
Right.
The day off, then like stop, I don't know. That's my whole take on the whole thing.
Okay. I got that now.
Yeah, it's nothing like incredible or mind blowing.
Okay. A perspective.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the question right here. The patchwork on denim that you're into, where does your love from denim come from? Like you say you collect denim. When did that start?
So this is a rabbit hole we may not want to go to,
Okay.
uh, but I'll keep it. I'll try my best. I am not a denim head, so there's like some people out there, the denim heads who think that I'm a denim head. Sorry, this is not the bust on a bubble. But I fell in love with denim because my dad wore
Mhm.
jeans a lot, and we didn't.
Mm.
'Cause we wore like uniform,
Right.
etc. Work jeans were more of like a work trouser, a work pant, and but my obsession with Levi's came from the movies. Um, there's this character that was like one of my first style icons. Two of them. One is
Mhm.
a comedian and one is a musician. Bob Marley wore denim all the time.
Mhm.
Don Ramon
Mm.
from the Chavo show,
Mhm.
Senor Ramon. He wore denim, like jeans, t-shirt, and a bucket hat, a fisherman hat, whatever you call it. And Bob Marley just always was in denim. So, that's the kind of people I like.
Mhm.
Um, I enjoy what they had on. Um, but we didn't really get like Levi.
Right.
We got Lee jeans, Sergio Valentino, all them things from the 70s and 80s, whatever those ugly jeans were, with the big white stitching. But like looking at movies like John Wayne with the big cuff on the jeans, and all those other. First off, most of our TV was in Spanish, so
Mm.
I never heard some of the English versions until like now. I'm like shocked. But a lot of the clothing they wore like denim.
Yeah.
Like what's the name of that police officer? Like, he was a detective and he wore the D on his hat from Detroit or whatever, and he had a big mustache.
I get
I
on.
don't know. I can't remember the name of the show, but he would wear jeans on there every so often. I'm like, those are ugly jeans. Like, why don't they wear cool jeans? Then
Mhm.
I started looking at like magazines and watching the New York style, and I was like, oh, this is a different style. So I was obsessed with what they were wearing, and
Mhm.
a lot of them wore Lee and Levi's. So I was like, I need to get a pair of Levi's.
Mhm.
And like Levi's was like a status. It's like in the Caribbean at the time. And I'm dating myself, so I'm like, leave me alone. You people, leave me alone. Um, so like there's certain status in certain islands. I mean, all islands all around the world, not
Yeah.
just like Caribbean. But if you had gold in your mouth, you were a specific status, and that's why I put gold in my art. Teeth on,
Okay.
just because of the status of what people were like, older people. But denim to me was a bigger back then. The status on denim was like a big thing. If you had a pair of Levi's, that means you traveled.
Mhm.
For me, at least, in my mind, because not everybody wore Levi.
Mhm.
So my obsession, when I first came to the States in the 80s, I went to the Gap, bought my first pair of Levi's,
Mm.
and I was hooked.
Mm.
Learning about the selvedge, learning about the history, um, not so much like the people's history, but the actual like denim.
Yeah.
They were made out of wind sails. When I first found out that, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So what I'm wearing used to be a wind sail to like power boats.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is interesting. So the actual textile I was obsessed with, the indigo, which was a natural dyeing technique. I grew up knowing indigo to be like a thing, a help aid. Like if you got hurt, you parents put some indigo on your bruise or
Mhm.
whatever the
It
case
was like
is.
a blue
Yeah,
spot. Mhm.
yeah. So learning about it, and then starting to wear it and realizing that it can fade. So for me, I was like, oh, let me just make my jeans look old so they won't look like everyone else's.
Yeah.
So I would do some sanding, some washing, and then looking at pictures of like, you know, the Dust Bowl or the what do you call it, the era of when the Depression came after the 20s.
Mhm.
The way people dressed was intriguing. They had
Yeah.
holes in their clothes. It wasn't of status, but to get a pair of jeans with status, so I was like, let's
Mhm.
mix both worlds. So I
Yeah.
started putting holes and patching, watching my mom mend things, and then start doing it to my garments and try to make it into art,
Mhm.
different art forms. So anything I did was gonna be at least creative, and then I started doing it at a young age. Again, like going back to like making a baseball out of like whatever we had around in materials, doing the same thing to your jeans, making them look like my dad wore them for fixing the car, mechanic, grease, and everything.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it just took over, and then I just started buying them to destroy them, and then sell them to friends, and next thing you know, I started to do it as a small business, making denim from scratch. I still
Mm.
don't know how to use a pattern to this day, so everything I do is by eye.
Mhm.
So for me, it was just the journey of what denim was, or indigo was, or even some twill and textile, and then learning the fact that you can dye it into anything too.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's a complete answer, but my obsession with denim goes very deep, and I'm trying to keep it very minimal.
No, I love denim because it's rugged. It's the more you wear it, it feels better. Um, you know, when I was in college, I studied for a semester denim.
Textile,
Mhm. And had to study a lot of Japanese denim.
yeah, yeah.
I wore a lot of 511s when I was in college. I just bought some 501s the other day with like a thick cuff. They're very comfortable. I think they're men's. I hate a button fly, but I'm just like, I'll just deal with it.
I
I
mean,
was
you
like,
can turn your bunny fly into a zip.
I have to look into that because
It's an easy process.
I'm just like, how do men have this challenge of button flies?
Well, you have
And
to remember. Okay, so I'll tell you a quick story.
yeah.
This is gonna be a little nerdy. So in 1954, the zipper was introduced to denim.
Mhm.
Um, it was right after the war. It was in between the other war, and they introduced it to the Levi's jeans because maybe even to like the direction of it being unisex,
Mhm.
like women were wearing men's jeans, but they wanted it to have a little bit more modern take, I guess.
Mhm.
And so they introduced the zipper in 1954, and it jarred a lot of men. One of the letters that was sent to Levi's, and so Levi's has a collection where they remake every a certain period. And
Mhm.
1950, and they show like a letter from each period, like 1933,
Mhm.
1937, etc., going all the way up
Mhm.
into like 80s. They recreate or rebuild and make them. And these jeans had a specific cut, specific look. They were a little bit more carroted, the shape,
Mhm.
a higher top lock, and some came shorter, or you can just cut them and hem them. But they added the zipper, and one of the first letters in the zipper, in about the zipper was, "Why would you add a zipper to a perfect pair of jeans? It's like peeing the jars of an alligator." This is an actual letter that was written to Levi.
What?
So for men, that was like something new, but it
Yeah.
was more accommodating for the women that were wearing the jeans because the buttons leave a bunch,
Yeah.
and if it's not a high waist, and it doesn't flatter the shape.
Yeah.
So the zippers do smooth out the shape and give it a little bit more ease. And having a higher top flat and a tapered leg gave the hips a look of room or shape.
Mhm.
So that's why, and zippers have always been more geared towards women.
Hmm.
So they actually in the 50s they have the 701s,
Mhm.
which was made for women, but they were a unisex jeans. So to be more appropriate, they put the salvage pink for women, and to differentiate that style for men and women, men was red in Levi's and pink for the women. But they got intermingled and everyone wore them. So because they were classically made just for it.
Yeah.
And again, if you're ever buying jeans or any garment, you're you're buying a standard pattern. And because it's a standard pattern, it's not specifically for you. So that's why
Right.
alteration is important.
Right.
You have to alter your garment
Right.
because we don't look like a mannequin. We don't look like a straight pattern. We don't look like specific pattern.
Mhm.
Japanese denim the same way. Um, a lot of people love Japanese denim, but a lot of people
Their
complain about
bodies are smaller.
the pattern is actually cut a specific way
Yeah.
to represent everyone in the country or represent anyone who's buying from it.
Mhm.
But size is different. Numerical system is different. Some people are in inches, some people are in centimeters.
Mhm.
Centimeters work a little easier. It's the same as orange shoes. It was a little difficult for me to first buy a pair of Clarks coming from
Mhm.
the islands to buying a pair of Clarks in the States.
Mhm.
Because there was a different sizing. You have your English size,
Right.
which is a different size to the American size.
Mhm.
So if you learn that, you have to learn those things, and once you learn them, then you can alter and make the garment to fit you. So you can change the buttons. You have the area to cut it out, add a zipper in there if you want to.
Hmm. Yeah. I have my mom putting some zippers in some skirts for me right now.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
but
So
yeah, denim is an obsession, so we need to leave that alone.
I get that. I get that. All right. I love me some denim. It's good. So, why is art super important to society in your opinion?
Again, that's a question that's kind of a good question and redundant. It's very redundant in a way where everyone always asks,
Mhm.
but all you have to do is look around you. Every single thing that is man made
Mhm.
has something to do with some creative part of art.
Mhm.
So for me personally, um, art is an expression of your personal creative style or creativity.
Mhm.
Um, it's what you see the world like, and or what someone else sees it as.
Mhm.
But most important is you first. Um, but the world does need art because it gives us an understanding of something new, something fresh. And art doesn't just go to like painting; it goes to dancing, singing, making garments, building a house.
Mhm.
You name it, whatever that person's expression is. Writing. A lot of us forget about how writing is one of the biggest creative expressions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. I can't think of everything now because I'm on the spot. I'm trying to speak clearly and speak like like I'm talking to a child on purpose because
Yeah.
sometimes people are like, "Ah, those words went way over my head."
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of people look at art as problematic,
Mhm.
but an artist can save the world. An artist creative. Uh, the word creative is loosely used as well, but there are parts of that art can build up and tear down,
Mhm.
and it's a powerful medium, whatever your medium is. But art, I think, just creativity in itself.
Yeah.
It's needed no matter what we think.
Yeah. You can't there's no thought that doesn't involve a love of art to me. I
Yeah,
think nature is what it is, and when it comes to
it's a form
humans,
of art.
yeah, humans is what we interpret from what is already.
Yeah,
Um and it's only the people who continuously keep thinking that bring something new.
yeah,
Um I might one of my favorite cities to be in and just walk around and get lost in it would be like Philadelphia, because
really.
the buildings are very old,
Yeah,
and Philadelphia is one of those cities who is always the last to change something. And so when you look at the scaffolding on the buildings, they have like the gargoyles still on there. The paint is chipping. The stone is different. The grout is just gritty, and it just always gives you like, okay, I'm gonna walk through the city today. I'm gonna go to the Barnes and Noble that's in Rittenhouse, and then I'm gonna walk all the way down to 52nd Street, and then I'm gonna take the train. I'm gonna go home, and then I'm just gonna create. And
yeah,
I feel like I'm. I mean, it's gonna happen regardless, but I feel like gentrification is going to steal this this authenticness of being in a city that's old and
yeah,
tells a story because you want this visual of something new and fresh. It's kind of like when you walk through certain parts of Brooklyn, it tells a story. Um, when you
yeah,
see row houses, it tells a story. Like there were like generations of people who are outside in a culture. If you change that, there's no story to be told anymore. Uh,
yeah,
and so I just feel like that raw essence of being in something that's gritty to being somewhere that's pretty. Maybe when you look at somewhere like Switzerland and it looks like it's so pretty you can't touch it, but
yeah,
that's truly how people are living. All of that should do something in your mind for you to create something fresh.
yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And so we need that.
Yeah, I like that you said you walk around the city and you can get certain looks.
Yeah.
I think that's why people, when they look, like if I do a video and I'm walking around the city,
Mhm.
is I look forward to seeing those things
Mhm.
because they bring a specific aspect of creativity for me. Um, we all have different soliloquies to certain things, but um, whatever this city provides, I
Mhm.
like the like you said, rustic. I like that word. That word is perfect.
Yeah.
Um, to me, I think the more we look at that's not, let me rephrase that. The more we look at that's interesting for us,
Mhm.
and it sparks that creative like life, or for us to have a journey through it.
Right.
I think that's um, it's like when you don't have a lot and you just have that little bit
Mhm.
that more comes out of it. I think that's what cities, old buildings, things that might be ready to be, dilapidated buildings. It
Mhm.
still has more creativity, but it has more strength and history to it. So
Yeah.
to me, I love that, and I try never to forget that. And that's why when I go outside, I look for things that are older, repainted, chipping, just like you said. So
Mhm.
I resonate with everything that you just said is very honest in my opinion about being creative.
That's why I like I know technology exists and you can read on a Kindle or whatever. I want to smell a book. I want to be
Yes,
around old books.
yes,
Um because it just gives you a different appreciation of getting something
yeah,
that is not digital and you don't have to worry about it being put in somebody else's words. I want to read this edition in this book. I want to see the things that are incorrect, and then I want to do what I will with my
yeah,
experience.
It's like vinyl.
Yes.
I'm learning to re-appreciate. I used to have a nice vinyl collection back in the day, but now I'm rebuilding a vinyl collection. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even. Let me tell you something. It's so crazy I am. I don't even have a record player.
Just buy them.
Yo, I'm already like 60 records in the lab. I
Oh,
started. I started like 3 weeks ago, and I already have like maybe 60 new records. Ask me
like
about a
when you're in a big city, you could do that. When you're in a city like Atlanta, it's so sporadic on when you'll find something like that. It just I feel like yes, you could go online and order it, but it's not the same if
no.
you don't dig for
I'm
it.
going. I'm going to the record store. I don't do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even have the record player yet. And to be very honest, I, I I have a small little collection that I'm looking at to actually paint from because I
Yeah.
love record covers. Anyway, that's a
Mhm.
whole other story. But yeah, that's just how it is. Like when you see rustic and old things, a book. I
Yeah.
grew up. Let me tell you, in a live. I just did an interview for a magazine, Caribbean
Mhm.
magazine,
Yeah.
and one of the questions was like kind of vague, and it's like what prompted you to like loving art and loving like fashion? I was like going to the library. I
Yes.
went to the library. My mom made me, because I always carried a bag, and my mom would carry, we call them beach bags, we call them boat totes, LL Bean totes. I love those things.
Yeah.
But I would have all my brother's foods, whatever, inside their room for
Mhm.
us to like check out books. But I would go to the library, and we would sit there for like, I don't know, maybe like whenever it opened at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and whenever they close like at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's a
We would be
long
there
time.
all day, and it was. But this library is a Caribbean library, and it was an old fort or whatever. So there were like secret passages, secret rooms. There were like mazes and
Uh,
stuff. So we would just play and have fun and read and check out books. And it was me and my four brothers,
mhm.
and we just had four of us. We just had the blast, and that was our Saturday.
Mhm.
We ate breakfast, lunch, and then of course dinner was home. But we just did our thing, and the smell of an old library like that,
So good.
you can't take that away from me.
It's so good.
If I open a book and I don't smell it, and it
Right.
smells fresh, I'm like, nah, nah. Let me
Right.
go to a used bookstore.
Yeah.
Like I like going out. I know it sounds ridiculous, but the damp basement where the books just smell heavy.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
heavy. That is like that's a feeling every time I go right back to being a child.
Yes. So
No matter
I
what.
remember a field trip I had. I must have been in like first grade. I remember we would walk, it was in Philadelphia, we would walk from the school to the library that's in the city that was closest to the school. And we would sit in this big room and they would run the video recorder and you would hear it. And you just in there getting the whiff of the old books, watching
Mhm.
whatever
Yeah.
movie they wanted you to watch on there. And for me to be 37 with my own kids, and I remember that, and I remember the essence of that old, dusty library, I'm just like, how could you not take your kids to the library? I take my kids to the library every other week. Um,
Society changed a lot for me. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, like I even me, there's books all over my house. I
Yeah.
could buy new books, but I prefer to buy a book that's used.
Yeah, the spine is a little broken, little
Yes.
dings to it. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. So all of that is just like good. Like, the thing in a Caribbean household is you're not bored, go find something to read.
You know what I
And
mean? All the time.
my mom was like, there's a whole bunch of encyclopedias over there. Go read the encyclopedia. And if
Yo.
we didn't want the encyclopedia, she had like this thick medical book.
Yeah,
And
that's
it
how
was
I
just
learned to draw. That's how I learned to draw was from medical books.
yeah.
Like as a kid, that's how I learned to do figurative work, artwork.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't say that earlier, but yes,
It had
that's
all
how
the
I learned to
pictures
draw.
in there. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be looking at this, but this looks disgusting.
Yeah,
But it was
yeah.
good. It was good.
That so that's why I took biology. I wanted to be an illustrator for medical books.
Mm,
That was one of my big passions, was to do that.
yeah.
But yeah, but I did it on the side of like the animal kingdom. That's what I wanted to do. But yeah,
Good. And I think stuff like that is why I'm a homebody. Um,
possibly because you're surrounded by that indoor experience that's beautiful.
like the house was the exploration spot.
Yes. Yeah.
Outside was where you get inspiration, but the
Yeah.
house is where you explore it and you create with what
Yeah.
you
From what
have
you can
in the house.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. I can agree with that.
yeah,
100%.
this is good. All right, I got one more question for you.
Oh boy.
Okay, if you could only use one method, which would it be? Would it be watercolor, tea, pencil, or ink?
Damn. I mean, sorry. Shoot. You gotta edit that. Uh, dang. What kind of questions is that?
It's a deciding factor of like if you could only use one way to express your art, which one would it be?
Yeah, that's hard, yo. Dang. All right. So watercolor, tea, and what else?
Pencil or ink?
Well, the only one out of all of them that's organic enough for me to grow it myself would be tea.
Mm,
And not everything man-made exists forever, so I can plant. So that means I can plant teas, different colors, plants. So I guess I would do tea,
tea. Okay.
but I would just have to use it like how I would use watercolor.
Yeah. I
Oh,
would like I
yeah.
would like to see the process of you doing tea.
It's exactly like watercolor. Like, um,
Is a color vivid like watercolor?
yeah, depending on the tea. Like, you can do like green tea will be very soft.
Mhm.
Black tea will be kind of dark and heavy. They're very acidic though, so you have to water them down a lot.
Mhm.
Because of the acidity, some papers will, um, like on my website, there's a whole section about like how I know what I products I use on the art that it will change within a specific time
Mhm.
frame, and the work will gradually look different as it gets older, and that's the whole point of it.
Mm.
So because of specific things I put on the piece, like I use Palo Santo as charcoal or sticks as charcoal.
Mm.
So I burn it and then I draw with it.
Yeah.
Um, so that would make sense for me to build a pencil. I can make my own pencils by using specific things, fire and wood. But then growing the tea plants, I can indulge in drinking it and I can indulge in using it to paint.
Yes.
So, but it just depends on whatever the tea is. Because, like,
Mhm.
um, Hojicha is a good tea to actually use to paint. Um, like for me, I don't put milk in my matcha as much. I didn't know it. Like the first time I saw a matcha with milk in it, it was like, oh, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
kind of creative, but I prefer not to drink it.
Mm.
Do not put anything in it. Just not even sugar.
I've never
Like,
had it before, but my friends drink it. I'm just like,
yeah, and but it's good for your body. It's
yeah.
like amazing. It has so many different. It's like you know what matcha is like. You know how sea moss is what a big thing.
Okay.
You know how sea moss is like.
Yeah.
You know, like yo, it have all the attributes for your body, da da da,
Right.
etc. Yeah, like you know, you can paint with that.
Mm.
Yeah, you can paint with seaweed, yo.
Hmm.
You can. I mean, there's so many things you can do it. But for me, I think, yeah, watercolor is man-made, so I wouldn't want to use it. Pencil, I mean, that's lead, so that's available for you to find and to
Yeah.
cultivate. What was the last one?
Ink.
Ink. Ink. it's good because you can make ink.
Mhm.
So I can ink is basically a transfer from like charcoal wood and making like sumi and all that. So
Mm.
can do that. So yeah, I would definitely not use watercolor and pencil.
Okay.
I was grow it and burn it and cultivate it.
He's resourceful.
I guess, man. That was a crazy question. I was
I
like, that
told
was
you. I told you I was going to pick your brain.
yo.
All right. So you have a show coming up soon.
Yeah, I have well currently I have a little something going on at a group show right now, at a friend's little space.
Mhm.
And then I have a show coming up in it's like it's a small space, but I'm gonna be doing it now with another artist.
Mm.
But don't have all the details yet. But it's on the 12th. It's like very soon, so that's why I've been like today.
Okay.
I got up and I've been painting all day and taking small sleep breaks in between.
Mm.
Like before the call, my mobile
Yeah.
died,
Yeah.
and I woke up and it was dark, and I was like, oh no. I was like, because I was just trying to take a 30-minute nap.
Yeah.
Like, so I do this thing where I work for like a certain amount of time and then I rest.
Mhm.
If I don't like close my eyes, I do other like physical things. Like I may like have tea or get in this quiet place.
Mhm.
Um, kind of like a meditative thing to like keep going.
Mhm.
So I can work like 15 hours, not feel like 15 hours.
Mm.
So it's very helpful. I've been doing it for a long time,
Yeah.
but yeah, the show is gonna be geared around that practice.
Okay.
So a lot of it in the description, like I'll have some incomplete pieces as well. Um, 12 pieces on the 12th.
Mm.
I don't have a name for the show. Well, I'll check the emails because I think. Okay, so Monday is my day to myself. It's my beautiful day. I love Mondays.
Okay.
Unbeknownst to all those who hate Mondays so much is the best day.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I charge my phone once a week, and I charge it on Mondays.
What?
Oh yeah, try not.
Do you live on D&D?
No,
No.
today I do. Mondays, my phone. I'm not accessible. No one has
Okay.
access to me on Monday.
Okay.
If I have one person that will probably have accessibility to me,
Mhm.
access to me. Sorry, have access to me, but other than that, no one has access.
Uh,
Sounds bad, but yeah. And I
no,
don't.
because see, I live on D&D. As long as I have the girls with me
Yeah,
and what I need in my house to make sure I'm safe, whoever have my location. My phone's off. I sleep with my phone on airplane mode.
yeah. I just turn my phone off.
Yeah, I wake up, I turn it on to get news. But other than that, I'm not on the phone throughout the day.
Nah, I don't. I don't. If I use my phone, it might be because my one of my other things did died or a battery or whatever. But other than
Mhm.
that, I listen to music all day. I listen to
Yes.
two types of music all day
Mm.
simultaneously on Mondays, and my phone is usually off,
Yeah.
and I kind of just enjoy the day. Uh, I like being in a smaller space, so I create myself in a small space so I can just
Mm.
enjoy it. And I take long walks. I take a walk at 6 in the morning, and then I
Mhm.
take a walk at like around 9:30, 10 o'clock,
Mhm.
and then another one like maybe around 1, and then
Mm.
I take an evening walk around I don't know like 9 in the evening. I live in a easy neighborhood to actually do that at night.
Okay.
But sometimes on Mondays I just go for journeys and long walks. Last Monday I went for a 4-hour walk.
4 hours.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
I did a lot. I mean, I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
It wasn't like anything bad, but
Yeah.
I
I
got
mean,
to.
I mean, that's an aspect too. Now, I think I would think about it because I drive everywhere here. But in New York, I would walk from
Oh yeah,
Williamsburg to Times Square, through
yeah.
LES, through
Oh yeah,
Soho, no problem.
yeah.
Now it's kind of like, oh my goodness, will my feet make it?
Nah, you gotta wear. Yeah, I mean, you don't even realize it. I mean,
Yeah.
whenever I was like, when I was younger and being in New York, I live in Far Rockaway, so it's like an hour and change to go to
Mhm.
Manhattan. So when you get to Manhattan, you gotta take everything in.
Yeah.
I remember walking from LES to like Bushwick
Wow.
with my cousins and I, and we're just completely drenched in sweat, looking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta enjoy the. I find a lot more when I walk. I see a lot.
Mm. Yeah.
So like a lot of people look at my videos, but like all of that is from me walking in different neighborhoods,
Mm.
just gathering little moments. So
Yeah.
mm.
Stuff like that I miss sometimes about the city.
Which you live in? You said Atlanta?
Yeah, I live in Atlanta, but now I'm just
How you
like
say it? Atlanta,
Atlanta. It was what people say when they're here.
Atlanta. Yeah, there's a lot of Caribbean people there. A lot of people
There's
from the
a
Virgin
lot
Islands.
of Caribbean people here.
Yeah,
Marietta. They're all over the place, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But
There's a lot of there's a lot of people from the Virgin Islands there.
yeah,
The VI massive, always every way.
yeah. Um, I just wish the food was a bit more in abundance of deliciousness. Not everybody have good food here,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Um, but where can the people find you?
What do you mean?
Where can the
Ooh.
people find you? Your artwork?
Oh, okay. I was like, you can't find me because I
Not
nobody is gonna,
found.
you're gonna go on my website and see my artwork.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram, but personal Instagram, and I have an art Instagram.
Mhm.
No one could really like. I don't really like. I post and go, so it's not. I'm not really like that person to like hang around and like
Yeah.
respond to like a. This is terrible. I know people are like, dang, he's a Buddha, but I don't know. You can check my Instagram. My website for my artwork is a little bit more accessible, so
Mhm.
that'll be easier. Um, it is icamic.com. You
Mhm.
can put the spelling up later, I guess.
Yes.
Um, but other than that, that's the only way.
I
I
think
don't
you
answer
should.
the email, so y'all just have to talk to somebody else.
Yeah, I think you should keep it like that. Stay in your creative world, your creative bubble.
Yeah, that's it.
Um,
What you? This is very rare.
yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It feels a bit more treasured that you don't do this as often. But
Might be like, yo, forget it. I don't want it out there. Done it. Cut it off.
I'm looking forward to more work that you're doing.
Yeah. So
Um,
currently, I'm working on a big project for. So this year was my off year. I wasn't really doing a lot of shows and doing a lot
yeah.
of work. I was just really just like tending to like my mental health, whatever you want to call it. Just
Mhm.
like really just taking care of me and just being more there for myself and being more creative and like research.
Mhm.
But I am working on a bigger project that is going to be for next year.
Mhm.
Um, and it's about just like a journey as a child to as an adult, and visually you will see things in that aspect of like who I am. More personal things like
Mhm.
even like to name like earlier when you mentioned the thing about the narcissist thing. The reason I chuckle is because that's very personal, and I put that in a piece that was very personal,
Yeah.
and nobody has ever asked me about that piece. It's just like because my titles are very weird and long-winded, and I
Mhm.
do that purposely because of like reading like weird, like just reading things,
Yeah.
and so I'd like to try to introduce that you get a little something almost like a poetry attached to it.
Mhm.
Let's not say that 'cause I'm not poet. But yeah, this whole piece is just a journey, and the entire um show is one long sentence paragraph. We want to say each piece continues into it, and it makes like a little paragraph,
Like a
and it just
story.
yeah, literally a story. And the pieces may not really give you that in order, but it
Mhm.
is in order. It's just so you have to in the show you'll have to find the order.
Nice.
So it's a little fun
I
thing,
like
and
that.
it's scheduled for like next year,
Mhm.
later on in the year, as my personal one man show. So this would be like a project I do all by myself, and no
Nice.
gallery, no anything. It'll just be something like that. So no gallery shows yet.
Mhm.
I am talking to a few people right now for a few things.
Mhm.
Um, there might be one on the East Coast, and two on the East Coast,
Mhm.
and but it'll probably be more so on the West Coast.
Hmm.
The few that I'm looking forward to,
Yeah.
the big one.
Nice. Good things. Good things to come. Thank you so much for doing this. Let me
Yes.
pick that brain.
Hopefully the answers were good enough because
Yes, they were perfect. They were perfect. You know, a creative mind. That's what I wanted. That's what I got. I appreciate
yeah, man, definitely
it.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So thank you so much, you guys, for listening
Thanks,
to the Creator Podcast. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Icky, for coming on.
yeah,
And
man, definitely.
I hope you have a great night.
You too. Be kind to yourself today.
Yes, you too. Stay in your bubble.
Yes, always.
Good
Bless.
night.
Be blessed.
You too.
All right.